have completely caught the tourney bug. Don't worry, the channel won't turn into a bunch of tournament vlogs, as I realize that's fairly boring, but for me, there's a little bit of excitement and genuine love for the game that I've grown to have again. To be quite honest, give me a few bust outs, a couple of bad beats, and I'll be running right back to the cash game streets. But until then, today we have a very special episode. I'm gonna be heading over to play the Gladiators event. You guys are gonna be meeting a lot of the contestant giveaway winners. You guys can always play with me on Splash Squads, as we've been doing. And although I'm not here every single Sunday, which I'm like there 99% of the time, you guys should be heading out on Sundays to Lucky Lady at 1 p.m. I play there, the action's insane. 2-3 and 2-5, both games are being spread. And lastly, if you guys have been noticing, I've been winking and hinting a little bit here and there for this, but I'm happy to announce our beautiful collection is dropping. There's a bunch of different colorways for the hatch, but the core of the icon and the patch is the same. If you guys can see, this one's inspired by the Marlboro patch, and then you see the one right here is going to be inspired by the donkey right in front of you. All that to be said, today's episode is an absolute blast, or at least I'd hope to be. If not, if this video is fun, you guys will probably never end up seeing this episode. So let's go play some poker. Okay, so we made it to the first break. And wait, no, this is the second break of the day, but first break for me. And we are currently here with some gentlemen. We have one hand to go over of note. We have Queen 3 off here from the cutoff. For what I know, Queen 3 off. We raised to 2,400 at the 1,200 big blind level. We get a call, and the small blind call for the big blind flop is Jack 9 5 with 2 clubs. I think a heart. Checks me, I see bet 3,000. Small blind folds, big blind calls. Turn is an 8 of hearts, but hey, I have a queen, so maybe I have queen 10, right? Checks me, I bet 4,700. The gentleman calls. River is a 4 of clubs, bringing in the front door flush. When he checks, I'm almost confident that I now know that he doesn't have a flush. So when he checks it to me, I decide to bet once again for 5,500. He tank folds. So just like that, we got some more chips. Let's get in there. To be quite honest, to win any of these damn things, you got to get pretty lucky. Not just once, twice, or 3 times. You've got to be lucky for like 60 hours of continuous play. This next hand, that is no different. We're playing the level 9 1.5k big blind with a big blind ante of the same number. When the action starts off here, middle position opens to 4,000. I'm on the button with king 7 of hearts. I'm going to play against this player. I'm definitely going to be playing a little bit on the wider side. On the button with the suited king, feels like it's a decent idea. I'm doing all of this with about 35,000 in my starting stack. My opponent here from the big blind thinks about it for some time before eventually going all in for 25 or 29,500. The initial raiser decides to fold him with the action over to me. I take a look over and glance at the clock, and I realize that if I get it in here and lose, although my hand's not that great, I can just quickly go into rebuy mode, get 40,000 fresh chips, or I can use this as a catalyst and a catapult for the rest of the session. I decide to go ahead and rock with what is in my inner mojo, which is to go for the gamble, baby. I stick in the call, and I see the bad news when I'm up against a dominating king 10. Well, looks like we're going to need to get lucky here, but hearts are live, and so is a 7. The flop doesn't come containing either, but it ends up giving me an open-ended straight draw. The turn card puts all of that to rest as it comes the 8 of diamonds. Our opponent is drawing dead to a chop. The river card pairs the board, and just like that, we have a 70,000 chip stack. Now, all we got to do is hold on to it. Since the previous hand, some time has passed, we're going on 3 levels. It's now level 12, the 3k big blind, and the button decides to open it up to 8k. We look down at ace deuce offsuit here from the small blind, and it gets a button open. Specifically this button, it feels like I can honestly have the best hand, and I should try to steal this here. After the last time we've checked in, I've ended up shaving off a little bit of my stack, so I go ahead and just go for it. I go all in for 52,000, significantly less than 20 big blinds here. Getting this would be huge, as it could increase my stack by a near 15 to 20%. It won't come down to that, as our opponent's going to put us to the test when he makes a call instantly and shows king queen offsuit. Well, we are ahead. Let's hope it stays that way. The flop comes out 8-8-5. The turn card's a 5 of clubs, looking to fade the 6 outs. And by some miracle, the river card gives us 3 pair, and we hold a full double up, getting us up to 110,000 chips. The roller coaster keeps on going. We are now on level 13 here, and early position decides to go on for 50,000 chips. I look down at a beautiful ace queen of spades here. This is a no-brainer. I decide to rejam it all in. Not rocket science, that's for sure. No one else is willing to come up to battle. Our opponent shows ace 9 offsuit. We've got him in dire straits here. And when the flop comes out queen high, we've got him drawing near dead. And the king of spades on the turn solidifies that. Once again, we've got our stack up over 150,000 chips. And after a few all-ins going in our favor, we are ready to rock. Trying to play some poker that doesn't involve just cards on their backs. On the next hand, we're playing level 14 here. Blinds are getting steep. Early position min clicks it up to 12,000. I'm next to act, and he's playing a pretty big stack. We both have over 150,000 chips sitting in front of us, so we got to play a little bit on the careful side here. Everyone's fairly shallow, but I look down at pocket jacks. Pretty easy spot for us to go ahead and make the 3-bet to 30,000. Folds back to him, and he makes a call. The flop comes out ace 7 deuce with 2 clubs. With the action checked over to me, in real time I go ahead and make the check back, but in reality I think betting here to deny equity from a hand like king queen makes a lot of sense. Aside of that, I think playing a little bit of pot control can't be all that bad either. When the turret card comes out the 4 of diamonds, once again when he checks to me, once again probably makes better sense if I didn't bet on the flop to at least try to check or get a little bit of value here, or once again deny some equity, but once again I do the opposite and check it back. The river card comes a 5 of spades, and by finally some point there's some money getting into the pot, but not because of me, but because my opponent leaves for 25,000. I'm not happy about this spot. I don't think my opponent's going to be bluffing with much, but there's a small chance my opponent can be bluffing, or I guess value betting with a hand like pocket 10s, or maybe a hand like 8-7 suited. And if that's the case, and I can beat some value hands, seems like a good idea to just flick in the call, which I go ahead and do. And unfortunately, our opponent doesn't have either of those hands. He has bottom set. Pocket deuces. Seems like we could have got blown off this hand a little earlier or lost some more chips, but all to be said, feels like we ended up getting out of this relatively unscathed. Well, if pocket jacks couldn't do this for us on the last hand, you know what will? The ladies! Here we are in early position, the same blind level. I raced at 12,000 myself. Middle position goes all in for just shy of 30k. Action's back to me. We have a crazy run of cards here. We go ahead and make the call, looking to recoup our losses from the last hand. Our opponent shows ace jack offsuit, looking to fade the aces, baby. The flop comes out 7-7 deuce. The turn's like 6, and we fade the 3 outs as the river card comes e4 of spades. Another pretty decent pot coming my way. We continue to press through these hands. I'm under the gun and I look down at ace 7 suited. I go and raise it up here at level 15 to 16,000 chips. The big blind makes a call. The flop comes out deuce, deuce 3. The last time around he flopped a set with those deuces. Hopefully we did not run into it again. When he checks over to me, seems like betting really small here to get value from worse hands. I'm making 8,000 chips. Our opponent calls and the turn card double pairs a board as it comes to 3 clubs. He checks to me. I quickly check it back. The river card is one of the best ones in the deck as it brings out the ace. We now improve the top pair, but we can also get a crying call from a hand that's looking to chop. Betting big here just doesn't make much sense as my opponent can pretty comfortably make a pretty easy fold, but by betting really small, he can get a decent price to play for a chop. So I bet 14,000 and he pretty quickly makes a call. We show and we do in fact win. Finally, a pot heading in our direction once again.
Okay, so sorry about it being so dark, but we are sitting with like a 300-ish K stack, like 315 or 320. That was crazy. The last time we talked, I think I had like 50K or something. So a lot has happened. This lovely gentleman's still in. Jeremy's still our guide. Life is hopefully gonna be good because we gotta keep spinning it up. So let's see. Pretty much max late reg this thing, spinning it up. Not really much to talk about outside of what we talked about on the thing. A couple of cool little plays that we made. Isolating a bunch of limps with Jack 10 and ended up getting it through, so that was nice. But let's keep it going.
Chips are flying as these blinds are getting out of control, and on top of that, everyone has come back with a full stomach since the dinner break. I'm under the gun and I look down at ace jack off. I go and raise it up to 20,000 chips. Middle position goes all in for about 8 big blinds. And the middle position player follows suit by putting in the rest of his 5.5 big blinds. Action folds back to me, and with how much money is in there for damn near free, although I don't love it, and I don't think either one of these opponents is bluffing, there's so much money out there, and if there's even like a chance that I have like 10% equity, I've just got to go for it. I go ahead and make the call here, and we're up against pocket queens and pocket kings. Oof, looks like we're going to need to get lucky, but aces are live.
The flop comes out giving me top pair, which is pretty great as it improves my outs here. The turn card comes a deuce of spades, and the river card, ace or jack, comes a 9 of diamonds. A very sizable pot, unfortunately not coming in my direction. They don't call me the bounce back kid for nothing. Early position goes all in at the same level 16 for 46,000 chips, which is good for just shy of 5 big blinds. Action folds to me in the small blind, and I look down at a suited ace. I go ahead and re-jam here. Everyone else gets out of the way. We're going to a pretty fair fight. Ace 4 of diamonds versus king queen off. Earlier we couldn't apply maximum pressure and delete this opponent from the tournament, but this time around things are in our favor as we flop him near dead as it comes out ace high. The turn card gives him some hope as it comes to 10 of spades, but the river card comes in our favor, and yet again, things are looking up, baby. An over 100,000 chip pot, and it's all mine. The price of poker has gone up. It's leveled 17 now, and it looks like Tom Brady's out to fight as the big blind is 12,000 chips. Middle position raises to 30,000 chips off about 130,000 stack. Pretty big raise for sure. I'm directly to his left, and I look down at pocket 10s. I go ahead and 3-bet jam it all in here, having every opponent covered for what is effectively 150,000 chips. The action folds back to the initial raiser, who thinks about it for some time before saying the words I'd love to hear. Let's gamble. Puts the rest of his stack in, and by some grace of poker gods, we have him absolutely crushed, drawing near stone dead, as he has 10-8 of diamonds. The flop comes out jack 4-4, leaving him with but a hope and a prayer. The turn card comes a deuce of clubs, ending all of the worry, and the 7 of hearts comes on the river. Once again, things are looking up, baby. 550,000 chips in my stack with a chance at glory. It's the same big blind level here. I'm in early position. I like down at a pretty pocket 8s. The snowman looks like it's snowing here in the summer in Las Vegas. I raise it up to 25,000 chips. Middle position player may be described as an OMC to some type, but a wonderful gentleman in my favor. He makes a call, and the big blind does as well. The flop comes out queen 10-9 rainbow. I decided to throw out a small c-bet for 30,000 chips, about a third the size of the pot, or even just shy of that. Middle position calls, and the big blind folds. Definitely couldn't be up against a hand that contains a jack here, but when the turn card comes the ace of hearts, I feel like betting this as a bluff is probably not the worst idea in the world. I bet 50,000 chips, and my opponent makes the call. We're going off to a river card that comes the 10 of clubs, pairing the board now. And after a bit of thinking, I realized that my opponent's going to have a really tough time making a big call. It seems like that case is exactly what's up when I bet 80,000 chips, my opponent's deep into the tank. The purpose of this bet, like I said, is to just try to get him to fold a better hand. He might have a hand like king queen that he just is going to have to make the fold to. But after a long bit of tanking, my opponent decides to make the call. We let him know he made a good call. It is in fact so when he shows ace jack. Seems like outside of this run out coming in his favor with the ace on the turn, we could have had a chance to steal it, but either way, things happen as they do. Unlucky for us, but moving on. Continuing to battle.
We have made the last break of the night, which is level 19. We're going to play another 3 levels, I think. I have to play 20, 21, and 22. So much has changed since we last talked. I think I've doubled my stack. To be honest, I had to buy all the 10k chips or the 1k chips, so I totally fucked up. I think I'm sitting on somewhere around 650 or 600k. Honestly, I had no idea. Probably the most chips at my table, but my table's honestly not that deep. I think we're gonna come back to 20k big blind, so we're good for 30 bigs, even though we're by far and away the biggest stack at the table. So things are going well. We're stealing where we need to. Things are just obviously panning out. Let's lock in, baby. It's a small tournament, but hey, all the money's up top, so let's find a way to get there. Let's at least get a day 2.
When they beat us down, we come back harder than ever. Some time has passed. We've been able to battle back and grind back a little bit of a stack. We're at level 20 now, with the big blind being 25,000, and I have a starting stack of about 600k. Under the gun decides to go all in for 105,000 chips. I'm directly to his left, and I look down at a suited ace-3 of diamonds. Considering that's only 4 big blinds, and it seems like my opponents won't be doing the bidding for me, I go ahead and stick in the call. Looking to bust my foe here. We're going heads up to a run out. When he flips over his cards, he has jack 10 offsuit. We're in a massive favorable situation. But when the flop comes out 9-8-3, he's got a ton of outs. Although we have bottom pair here, he might even be the favorite. The turn card puts a lot of it to rest as it comes to 3 of hearts. Our opponent is now dead to 8 outs. Over an 80% chance to win this, going off to the river, and it comes a queen of hearts. Oh no, I don't know how to feel about this, but that was not fun. Since the bubble has burst, it has been an absolute crab show. Everyone's busting left and right. There seems to be a pay jump every 2 to 5 seconds, albeit small, it's still a pay jump. Earlier in the session, we looked down at King 7 suited and it caused us to double up. And in this instance, I'm sitting on about a 500k stack, and with the action folded to me on the button, the effective stack here in the big blind is 365k, which is good for like 12 big blinds. I go ahead and just go all in here, knowing that my opponents have been overfolding this entire time. When the small blind folds, we're crossing our fingers, hoping to get this one through and increase our stack to dang near 600k, but that will not be the case as our big blind opponent immediately says he's all in as well. By some fortune, we are not in awful shape as our opponent has ace king. We still have like 30% here, but when the flop comes out ace queen jack, we're drawing dang near stone dead with a small chance of chopping. The turn card comes a deuce of diamonds, hoping and praying for 10 on the river, but instead it comes the 7 of clubs. We lose a massive near 800,000 chip pot, and just like that, now I'm the one sitting here with like 3 big blinds. Well, battling off the back of that last hand, I am definitely in quite the funk. With the action folded over to my opponent here just to the right of me, he goes all in for 350k. I'm sitting on around 105,000 chips, and considering my opponent just did all the dirty work for me, I somehow now have some protection. I go ahead and stick it all in there. Everyone else folds, and we're heads up against ace king. Hoping to win this time around, and the flop comes out jack 8-8. The turn card is a 3 of spades, looking to brick out in the river, which it does. And by some miracle, we are up to 285,000 chips, nearing 10 big blinds from just 3 big blinds seconds ago. This tournament has been the roller coaster we've always dreamed about. After zigging and zagging when I needed to do so, we have finally got ourselves up to a manageable 365,000 chips before the next hand plays out. I'm in early position and I've been jamming with a lot of hands, and finally we look down at a premium ace queen of clubs. I'm in early position and I go ahead and make it an all in for 365,000 chips. It gets over to the middle position player who starts to think about it for some time before eventually he decides his hand is good enough to go with it. He has everyone at the table covered and he calls my all in. The big blind now starts to go into the tank as well. He's in a very similar predicament we were in earlier. He's only got 150,000 chips total, with 30,000 of those invested in the big blind right now. He decides this is a better time than ever to go for it, and he sticks in his chips as well. We are super live as we're up against pocket nines and jack 10 offsuit, looking to bink one on the flop here, which we do as it comes ace 10 9. The turn is a deuce of spades, and then I realize my opponent flopped a set. I'm drawing dead. Oh my god. A million chip pot with an opportunity to stamp ourselves a massive stack going into day 2. An unforeseeable event has turned into my biggest nightmare. A frustrating way to end the day, but an incredible run nonetheless. Oh my goodness. This one's really gonna sting. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. So, as you guys saw there, unfortunately, we could not put the things together. Painful is probably an understatement. Getting it in for a milli chip pot in a great spot to find a double up, and seeing the ace and not even noticing the 9 there was kind of painful. All in all, we honestly ended up mustering a pretty decent finish. Let me let you guys know what I finished in, because I should search this up on him. I finished in, drumroll please, 1175th place, which was good for a payout of $994. So not halfway bad, considering I registered this thing fairly late in the day, and I tripled my buy-in. So
anytime that's the case, it's kind of like the lottery. So ended up making a genuine effort at getting through there, but I mean, c'est la vie. Unfortunately, it was not in the cards for us today. All that to be said, it's such a blessing, and I'm super thankful to have you folks here. If you guys enjoy this style of content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let your friends know about this episode. You guys can definitely be excited, as we will have probably already played the Hustler session, and you guys might have seen it, but if not, we have a video coming out of that very soon, and a ton more really fun cash games with all your favorite faces. I'm a little deflated, I'm a little defeated, but I can't give up the hope. The dream is to obviously end up with the World Series of Poker bracelet or a big major tournament win, and I can't do that if I keep sitting here. So let me get back to work, and I'm gonna take my ass back to Las Vegas to do it all over again.
Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. I can do this with my eyes closed.